Have you ever felt that constant pressure to stay active and on the go as you get older? Deep down, does a small voice say that a bit of rest is exactly what you need? You're not alone. I'm Dr. Miller. After 30 years of seeing patients, I've realized something surprising. The secret to aging gracefully isn't working harder. It's knowing when to be lazy. Today, I'm sharing 5 things to slow down on so you can live a more vibrant, peaceful life. Let's start. Item number 1. Being lazy about sitting for too long. As a doctor, I have seen so many of my patients treat their favorite recliner like a safe harbor. They call it the gravity of comfort. It feels so good to just sink into that chair after a long morning, turn on the television, and watch the news or a favorite movie. But here is the danger. Our bodies were built for motion, and as we age, the cost of staying still goes up every single year. When you sit for hours on end, your body begins to shut down its vital processes. From a medical perspective, the science is quite clear. When you remain seated, the blood in your lower legs struggles to fight against gravity. In our younger years, our veins are elastic and strong. But as we reach our 60s and 70s, those tiny valves in our veins get a bit tired. The blood begins to pool around your ankles. This causes edema, which is just a fancy word for swelling. More importantly, this puts an unnecessary strain on your heart because it has to pump twice as hard to get that blood moving again. I often tell my patients that their joints are like the hinges on an old garden gate. If you never swing that gate open, the metal begins to rust. Eventually, it gets stuck. Why does this happen so much faster now than it did 20 years ago? It is because of our biology. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass in our calves. We call the calf muscles our second heart because they help pump blood back up to our chest. When you sit too long, that pump stays off. This is why you might notice your knees aching more than usual. You might feel a heavy sensation in your legs, as if you are walking through deep water. Have you ever felt that sudden dizziness or a head spin when you stand up after a long movie? That is your body struggling to adjust its pressure. I remember a patient of mine named Robert. He is 69 years old and loves American history documentaries. Robert used to sit for 3 hours straight every afternoon. He told me, "Dr. Miller, I feel like I'm turning into a statue." His legs were swollen and he was losing his balance. I told him to be lazy about sitting. I did not ask him to join a gym. I just asked him to stand up every time a commercial came on the screen. He started pacing his rug or walking to the mailbox just to get the mail. Within 2 weeks, the swelling in his ankles disappeared. He felt lighter. He felt like himself again. Scientific studies from places like the Mayo Clinic show that sitting for more than 8 hours a day without physical activity has a risk of mortality similar to smoking. But the good news is that even small movements can reverse this. You can help your joints by eating more anti-inflammatory foods like walnuts or fatty fish. These act as a natural lubricant for your moving parts. So, I want you to make a choice today. Stop seeing your chair as a permanent home. Treat it like a bus stop, a place to rest for a moment before you move to the next thing. Stand up and stretch your arms. Walk to the kitchen for a glass of water. Step out onto your porch and breathe the fresh air. Your body will thank you for it. Before we move on, I want to see who is committed to this. If you are going to stand up and move after this video, please comment the word movement below. It lets me know you are taking charge of your health. Now, let us look at the next habit we need to change. Item number 2, being lazy about overeating. Now, let us talk about something we all love, but perhaps we love it a little too much. Many of us still have the appetite of a 30-year-old. We sit down for a Sunday dinner or a holiday feast and feel like we have to finish every single thing on our plate. But as your doctor, I am here to tell you that cleaning your plate out of habit is one of the hardest things you can do to your body. We often eat, not because we are hungry, but because the food is there, or because we are feeling a little lonely. The science behind this is quite simple. After we cross 60, our digestive system does not move as fast as it used to. When you eat a heavy meal, your stomach takes much longer to process it. This forces your heart to pump extra blood to your gut, which can actually make you feel exhausted. Furthermore, overeating causes a sharp rise in your blood sugar. Your liver has to work overtime to manage all that extra energy. If this happens too often, it creates a toxic environment in your cells and puts a heavy burden on your cardiovascular system. The core reason why this becomes so dangerous as we age is our basal metabolic rate. We simply do not burn calories like we once did. Our muscle mass naturally decreases, so we have fewer places to store that energy. Instead of being used for strength, those extra calories turn into visceral fat. This is the stubborn fat around your middle that creates inflammation throughout your entire body. It is as if you are overfilling a fuel tank that is already full. The overflow causes damage to everything nearby. Think about how you feel after a big meal. Do you find yourself falling into a food coma? Do you feel a heavy weight in your stomach that lasts for hours? Maybe you have trouble falling asleep, or you wake up the next morning feeling sluggish instead of refreshed. You might even notice more pain in your joints. These are not just signs of a good meal, they are signs of mild toxicity. Your body is telling you that it has too much to handle. Researchers at the National Institute on Aging have found that moderate calorie restriction can significantly improve heart health and brain function in older adults. It is not about starving yourself. It is about stopping before you feel stuffed. Studies show that people who eat until they are only 80% full live longer and have much sharper minds in their 80s and 90s. I want you to take action today. Stop cleaning your plate just because that is how you were raised. If you are eating out at a restaurant, ask for a box the moment your food arrives. Put half of it away immediately. At home, use a smaller plate. It tricks your brain into feeling satisfied with less. When you feel that first sign of fullness, just stop. Put the fork down. It is okay to leave food behind. The role of food should be to nourish you, not to burden you. Focus on nutrient-dense foods. Fiber is your best friend. Foods like berries, oatmeal, and leafy greens keep you full longer and help your digestion stay on track. You can get so much energy from a simple piece of baked salmon and some steamed broccoli without feeling weighed down. Think of food as medicine that should be taken in the right dose. I once had a patient named Martha. Martha loved her Sunday tradition of baking a large apple pie. For years, she would have 2 large slices after dinner. She started complaining to me about feeling breathless and bloated every Sunday night. I suggested she try being lazy about that second slice. I told her to savor just 1 small piece and really taste the cinnamon and the tart apples. Martha started having a cup of warm peppermint tea instead of that second serving. She told me later, "Dr. Miller, I actually enjoy the pie more now because I'm not fighting a stomachache afterward." So, my advice to you is simple. Savor every bite, chew slowly. Stop eating when you are 80% full. Leave that extra bit on the plate. Being a little lazy about your portion sizes will give you so much more energy for the rest of your day. Tell me, what is your favorite healthy meal? I would love to hear about it. Please leave a comment below. Item number 3, being lazy about staying up late. In the world we live in today, the lights never truly go out. It is so easy to find yourself sitting in your favorite chair at 11 p.m. or even midnight, scrolling through the news on your tablet or watching just one more episode of a television show. We tell ourselves that it is just a bit of harmless entertainment to end the day. However, as your doctor, I have to be honest with you. Your body sees those late-night hours very differently than you do. When the sun goes down, your body is supposed to enter a phase of deep restoration. By staying awake past your natural bedtime, you are essentially forcing your internal machinery to run on empty. The medical science behind this is truly fascinating. Between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., your brain performs a biological miracle. We call it the glymphatic system. Think of it as a nightly cleaning crew that enters your brain to clear out metabolic waste and toxins that build up during your waking hours. When you stay up late, you are literally forcing that cleaning crew to stay outside. The trash begins to pile up. Furthermore, staying awake under artificial blue light from your phone or television keeps your cortisol levels high. Cortisol is our primary stress hormone. Instead of resting and repairing, your heart and your nervous system remain in a state of high alert. This process becomes even more critical as we age because our bodies naturally start to produce less melatonin. Melatonin is the hormone that signals to every cell in your body that it is time to slow down and fix what is broken. When we were in our 20s, we could bounce back from a late night with no trouble. But now, our biological reserves are lower. By staying up late, you are fighting against a system that is already working hard to keep you healthy. It is like asking an old engine to run at top speed without ever giving it a chance to cool down. Do you ever find yourself feeling unusually snappy or irritable the next morning? Maybe you find it harder to concentrate on your morning crossword puzzle, or you find yourself searching for your car keys more often than you used to. We frequently dismiss these signs as just getting older, but in reality, these are often symptoms of a slightly toxic brain. They are clear signals that your brain did not have enough time to reset and clear out the cobwebs. If you feel that heavy fog in your mind when you wake up, it is because you did not give your glymphatic system the time it needed to do its job. The scientific proof of this is quite sobering. Research published in major medical journals like the Journal of Sleep Medicine has shown a direct link between chronic late nights and an increased risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. The toxins that are not cleared out during those early night hours eventually turn into plaques that damage the memory centers of the brain. On the other hand, studies show that seniors who consistently get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, starting before 10 p.m., have significantly better cognitive scores and more emotional stability. I want you to take action starting tonight. Stop the midnight scrolling. Stop watching those late-night news programs that only serve to make you feel anxious before bed. I want you to set a digital curfew. Put your phone and your tablet in a different room at least 1 hour before you plan to sleep. This tells your brain that the day is officially over. You can support this transition through the power of what you eat and drink. Magnesium is a wonderful natural relaxant for the nervous system. Eating foods like a small handful of pumpkin seeds or a banana in the evening can help your muscles let go of the day's tension. A warm cup of chamomile tea is more than just a drink. It is a ritual of self-care. It contains antioxidants that bind to certain receptors in your brain that may promote sleepiness and reduce insomnia. Think of these natural options as a gentle hand guiding you toward rest. I remember a patient of mine named James. He was 72 years old and came to me because he was convinced he was developing serious memory problems. He was agitated, forgetful, and felt like he was losing his grip on things. When we looked at his daily routine, we found he was staying up until midnight every single night to keep up with world events on his computer. I told him to be lazy about the news. I asked him to be in bed with the lights off by 9:30 p.m. Within just 1 month, James came back to my office with a smile on his face. He said, "Dr. Miller, I feel like I have my brain back. He was not developing a disease. His brain was simply starving for rest. So, I am asking you to embrace the quiet of the early night. Set your alarm for 9:30 p.m. as a signal to turn off the world. Aim to be in bed by 9:30 p.m. Let the moonlight be your guide to renewal. Your mind will be sharper, your heart will be calmer, and you will wake up ready to greet the day with a sense of purpose. If you are someone who loves that feeling of waking up refreshed and ready for the world, please comment the word sleep below. It helps me know that you are ready to prioritize your rest. Now, let us move on to the next habit we need to examine. Item number 4, being lazy about parties and drinking. We all love a good gathering. Whether it is a backyard barbecue, a wedding, or a simple dinner with old friends, these are the moments that make life rich. But I have noticed a pattern in many of my patients over the years. They feel a silent pressure to be the life of the party, or perhaps they simply do not want to offend the host. So they stay much later than they should, and they accept that third or fourth glass of wine just to keep up with the crowd. As your doctor, I am here to tell you that it is time to be a little lazy about your social obligations. Your body is no longer that of a young student who can bounce back the next morning. The medical reality is something we must face with honesty. Your liver is an incredibly dedicated worker, but it has been on the job for 60 or 70 years now. It is simply not as fast at processing toxins as it used to be. When you consume alcohol, your liver has to stop everything else it is doing to break down that substance. In a younger person, this happens efficiently, but for us, alcohol stays in our bloodstream much longer. It acts as a direct depressant on your central nervous system and puts a significant strain on your heart rhythm. This is why many of you might feel your heart fluttering or racing after just a couple of drinks at a wedding. It is a sign of acute stress on your cardiovascular system. The biological reason for this change is quite simple. As we age, our bodies naturally hold less water. This means that even a small amount of alcohol becomes much more concentrated in our systems. We also produce fewer of the enzymes that are responsible for clearing alcohol from our blood. What felt like a pleasant buzz in your 30s can feel like a heavy, toxic burden in your 70s. Furthermore, the social exhaustion we feel is real. Overstimulating your brain with loud music and constant conversation for 5 or 6 hours creates a state of psychological fatigue. We call this social burnout. I want you to think about how you feel after a big night out. Do you wake up at 3 a.m. with a bone-dry mouth and a mind that will not stop racing? I call this the empty feeling. It is a specific type of anxiety that comes from overstimulating your nervous system and dehydrating your brain. You might find that for the next 2 days, you feel a dark cloud over your head or a sense of deep lethargy. This is not just a simple hangover. It is your body telling you that its reserves have been completely depleted. It is a state of systemic inflammation that affects your mood and your physical strength. The scientific evidence from the American Heart Association is very clear on this. Even moderate overindulgence in our golden years can lead to a much higher risk of atrial fibrillation, which is a dangerous irregular heartbeat. There is also strong evidence that chronic social exhaustion and alcohol use can accelerate cognitive decline. On the bright side, those who practice moderation and prioritize their peace show much lower levels of cortisol and better overall heart health. I want you to take a new approach starting today. Stop feeling like you owe it to the host to finish every drink they pour. Stop feeling guilty for being the first person to head home. I want you to embrace the power of the one drink rule. Take your time with it, savor the flavor, really taste the oak in the wine or the hops in the beer. Once that glass is done, let it be the end. You can also use the power of hydration to protect yourself. Think of water as your secret shield. Alternating every sip of wine with a sip of cold water keeps your brain cells hydrated and helps your liver do its job. I also suggest focusing on lighter, natural snacks at parties. Instead of the salty, processed appetizers that make you thirstier, reach for some fresh fruit or a handful of unsalted nuts. These provide stable energy without the crash. I remember a patient of mine named Sarah. She is 74 years old and a very popular member of her local bridge club. Sarah used to come to me complaining of feeling absolutely drained and blue for days after her weekly meetings. It turns out she was drinking several glasses of Chardonnay just to keep pace with her friends, and she was staying until the very end because she did not want to seem old. I taught her the secret of the graceful exit. I told her to have one small glass, enjoy the best part of the conversation, and then quietly slip away before the heavy drinking started. Sarah told me later, "Dr. Miller, it changed everything. I realized nobody was offended that I left early. They were just happy I came, and I finally woke up the next day feeling like myself. So, please, permit yourself to be a bit lazy at your next social event. Enjoy the company, but protect your peace. Know when your light is starting to dim and head home to your own bed. You will find that the memories of the party are much sweeter when they are not clouded by exhaustion." If you believe that balance is the true secret to a long life, please comment the word balance below. It lets me know you are listening. Now, let us look at our final habit to transform. Item number 5, being lazy about electronic devices. We live in a world where tablets, smartphones, and 24-hour news cycles are everywhere. It is incredibly easy to fall into the trap of mindless scrolling. You might sit down just to check the weather, but suddenly, 2 hours have passed. You have been reading comments or news stories that only serve to make you feel anxious and tired. As your doctor, I am permitting you to be lazy about your phone. You do not need to be constantly connected to the digital world to have a meaningful life. The science behind this is very important for our age group. The light emitted from these screens is known as blue light. For our aging eyes, this glare is particularly harsh and can cause significant strain. More importantly, blue light trickery suppresses the production of melatonin in your brain. This makes your body think it is still the middle of the day. This leads to poor sleep and leaves you feeling mentally foggy the next morning. Furthermore, these devices take away our ability to focus deeply. Our brains need real, active engagement to stay sharp and prevent memory loss. Think about how you feel after spending a long time on your computer or phone. Do your eyes feel dry and itchy? Do you notice a dull ache in your neck or shoulders? Perhaps most importantly, do you feel a sense of isolation even though you are technically connected to the internet? This is because digital interaction can never replace the warmth of a real human voice or the peace of a quiet moment in nature. I remember a patient of mine named David. He is 71 years old and used to spend every evening in front of his television and tablet. He came to me feeling deeply lonely and physically stiff. I suggested he create a no-screen zone after 1 p.m. I asked him to put his devices in a drawer and do something with his hands instead. David began pulling out his old family photo albums that had been gathering dust for years. He told me later, "Dr. Miller, I feel so much more connected to my history and my family now." He started spending more time in his workshop and talking to his neighbors. His mood improved, and he started sleeping like a baby. I want you to reclaim your time today. Stop letting the screen be your primary window to the world. Set a specific time to turn everything off. Put the phone in another room. Instead of clicking the next video, go outside and touch the soil in your garden. Read a physical book made of paper. These activities nourish your soul in a way a screen never can. Real life is what happens when the devices are dark. If you are ready to choose your real life over the digital one, please comment the words "real life" below. It shows me that you are ready to be present in every moment. Remember our friend Arthur? He stopped racing against the clock and started living with intention. Aging isn't about giving up. It's about choosing what truly matters. In the comments below, please tell me one small change you will make this week. If this talk helped you, please like, subscribe to our community, and share it with a friend. Take care of yourself. I am Dr. Miller, and I will see you at our next talk.